Wow, and we're live just like that. Oh my goodness. Well, let's just get started. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 759, alongside partner in crime, Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. How are you tonight?
I am really good on this hump day. Thank you so much. Busy, 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 but it's
Busy,
May
busy, busy.
and yeah, summer is on the horizon. But enough of that because it's time to bring in our very special guest, and we're really excited to bring him on. Go ahead and bring him on. We're talking about photographer Michael Furfari of the Instagram Gay Smut Club, and also Gay Smut Studio. Michael, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight on Tags Live.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You know, I met you in New York when you were here. You're in Philadelphia, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I met you. You've also shot Kodi, so we're going to get into what it's like to shoot Kodi, our beloved host here, a
Oh
little bit
man.
later. You shoot, I want to say exclusively in Polaroid, but you can tell me differently. And I want to get into all of that, mostly nightlife, mostly hot boys. But I met you in HK at a fun show that it was mostly based on art. You call
Mhm.
yours smut, you use the word smut. What that whole fair had to do with a lot of artists in there. There's some jewelry, there's fashion, but a lot of the artists that was all based on sexy, smut like material. What do you think it is that got you into wanting to do all of this photography with that smut term?
Um, you know, I'll admit I kind of fell into photography. I always mused uh, about going to the gay bar and just taking pictures of like the little candid moments. And then one day I found a Polaroid in a vintage toy store in Astoria, and that's what just kind of launched it. Um, so a lot of my work is Polaroid. I do a lot of 35 millimeter film, and yeah, just capturing the little moments. That's what got me into it.
I
Love
love
that.
that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And as Steve said, and you even said you're a self-proclaimed smut peddler. So
Mhm.
a lot of your art, your work is like erotically charged. And I shot with you, so
Sure.
I know that there's an erotic element that goes into everything that you do. So I was wondering, like, how risque do you get in your artwork? Is there any like because I've seen them of me, but is there any more? Or is there like how far do you like to push the envelope? What how do you think that like attributes to your aesthetic?
Yeah. So I have pushed the envelope a little too far, which is why I used to just be gay smut club, and then I started taking like pictures of people, and Instagram told me that they were a little too overtly sexual. So I made the Smut Club Studio as a place to put some of this other stuff, so my main account doesn't get banned. Um, but I like to push the button. Like to have fun with it. I have a Twitter, which is also Gay Smut Club, where you can see much more explicit material.
Yeah. I remember I was I mean I've shot with you, so I remember at
Yeah.
one certain point it was very hard for me to keep my erection down, and I was like I was like, wow, I hope this is not making anybody uncomfortable. So it's a very erotic and it's just but comfortable space to be in. So thank you so much for that.
Oh,
But yeah,
Well, I was looking at your work too, and you mentioned you shoot in 35 millimeter as well,
sure.
but a lot of it is Polaroids. And when I
Yes.
was looking at, you actually label a lot of your photographs, like which Polaroid, if it's a 1/600 classic, a Polaroid six
Oh,
color 600 film, Polaroid now plus a second generation. I mean, you are very specific. I know I've grew up in the 70s when Polaroids were big, and it was so much fun. Now there's iterations of you can get apps that new cameras that can take pictures that look like you're doing that. You shoot with the originals. I tried to buy a vintage one several years ago because I thought it would be fun. And the
Mhm.
film alone was so expensive. I was like, okay, this is not something, not a hobby I'm going to pick up anytime soon. Talk about your love of Polaroid, why we love it so much, and the incredible different types of cameras you use.
Yeah. Well, so actually, that's why I started getting into 35 millimeter film because Polaroid film was so expensive. Um, but I love Polaroid because, especially in the setting of like the gay bar, the gay club, um, it's capturing like in a ephemeral, fleeting moment into something instant and tangible. And in some respects, it becomes like an artifact of that particular moment in time with those people in that lighting with that camera.
Hmm.
So that's why I love it. Um, and I can have fun and experiment with the film too. But I do have an arsenal of cameras. Um, I have the one that I shot with Kodi is from 1981. It is
Oh,
a
wow.
SX70 sonar, so it actually shoots out a beam of sonar to focus the lens, so you get the clearest picture every time. I have a modern camera, which I don't use so much, and my 1/600 classic is I think I get the clearest photos from that actually, um, but I don't take that one out as often because it doesn't really look like a camera. It's like this funky box thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned something, and it's almost like you are a historian of sorts. Like you're capturing moments in the club and in the community. Why do you think this is so important? Like your art, I feel like it services the community. Why do you think it's so important for you to memorialize? That's the word I was looking for. These moments in queer culture right now.
Well, gay bars have been closing across the country, especially since COVID, but starting before. And we're losing our spaces, whether it's to like cultural homogenization, um, politics, religion. So it's important to me we still have these spaces to ourselves.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and it's fun too. But and it's sexy and it's hot. Um, but that's the main drive to be a keeper of our culture.
Hmm.
Yeah, I kind of have a piggyback off of what Cody's talking about because I was going through Gay Smut Club on Instagram, and a lot of them were really hot, sexy DJs, really hot, sexy go-go boys, really hot, sexy bar patrons that all worked within and it's almost like you're celebrating that community. And is it truly a lot of it your love of the club or also to kind of preserve because like you say, we are losing a lot of these spaces?
Yeah, I mean it's both. It's both for the community and the love of the club. I but I recognize too that the bartenders, the door people, the coat check people, the go-go dancers, they're all they're all they're the ones who push the community forward, I think, in some respects. Um, you know, the gay bar is so integrated into our culture as gay people, as queer people. And I also want to recognize and celebrate the people who make that happen 3, 4 nights a week.
Yeah, like the fabric of the club. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Steve mentioned we met you. We went to Dandyland and we saw all about you.
Mhm.
We bought a bunch of your things there. But there's also a festival in Philadelphia. What was the name of it again? I'm sorry, I looked for it. I couldn't find it.
It was this past Sunday, it was
Yes,
the Mirror Ball Market.
Mirror Bar
Um,
Market in Philadelphia.
yeah.
Yeah, so you were there, correct?
Mhm.
What has the reception been like for your art in these venues that where these queer artists are being collected, and they're there to actually peruse the art of queer people.
It's mostly positive. Um,
Hmm.
People have responded well. They've liked my art. Um, they've commented on um, the aesthetic that they see. Um, the market that I was at most recently on Sunday, as it turns out, it wasn't exclusively queer, which
Oh,
that was a
interesting.
misunderstanding on my part. So there was a fair amount of straight people there, and this one woman had her like 5-year-old daughter, and she like rushed the girl away from my table as quickly as she could and said,
Um,
"This isn't age appropriate for her." And I'm like, "Oh, shirtless men? Okay, sure, that's not age appropriate." Like, doesn't look like she doesn't
so
go to response, so I'm
interesting.
sure she'll be fine. But yeah, I guess queer people are not age appropriate for 5-year-olds. I don't know.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
could have handled
Yeah,
it
that
such a
interaction stuck
different
out.
way to just, like, steer the daughter away from that booth if that was such a big deal, but to go up to you, that's why the one Daddyland, right, Cody?
Dandyland.
Dandy? Okay,
Yes.
Dandyland in New York is, really all of gay men, celebrating gay men. There was a plethora of artists that you could choose from, and I really like that. I'm just curious, when you go back to, like, the cameras, is there a difference when your models pose for you with the 35 millimeter as opposed to, say, is it a more casual experience when you're using a Polaroid? What's the experience model to photographer when you have those different cameras?
Well, I think I think for me, I have more in a studio setting. I have more fun with the 35 millimeter camera, um, because I have so many more exposures or pictures to play with. Um, the Polaroid, I have to be a little more intentional with, almost a little more calculated to make sure that I'm getting the most for each shot. So if I were to break it down, a one Polaroid picture, between the cost of the film and if I'm using a vintage flash bar, if I'm bougie that day, that might be
You better stun on them,
a bit.
girl.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That might okay.
I love it.
Um, it might end up being like $3 a picture. Um, but with 35 millimeter film, it's $10 for the roll and then whatever costs get developed. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's so
I
fu
have more room for like candid in between moments with the 35 millimeter.
it's so funny because in my experience, knowing how much that film costs, and it's not cheap to get anymore, and I think correct me, Cody, if I'm wrong, but if
Hmm.
I'm being photographed back in the day when you had a Polaroid, it was a birthday party when you were young. People took Polaroids and it was super fun, and it made me, being the model, if you will, even back then, feel very comfortable and casual. As opposed to Cody, you've been photographed by major photographers too. I have as well, where
Hmm.
you want to do your photographer right. These photos might end up somewhere with when you have the whole setup and the lens from it's almost the opposite. As models, I take the Polaroid much more casually because I think, and probably relaxes me. You might even get a better photo from the Polaroid because I'm that much more relaxed. I feel like as models, when there's lights, cameras, the lens, we are really wanting to maximize our time. We feel like this is, a real quote unquote real photo shoot. And so do you find any of that your models relax a little bit more on the Polaroids as opposed to the traditional 35 millimeter?
I haven't noticed that if I'm being honest. I mean, I try to approach each shoot just as a fun day. Like we're just hanging out. One of us is wearing very little clothing, um, and there's a camera involved.
That's a
I'll put
normal
on
day
some
for
disco
me.
music and typical Tuesday for Cody.
Right?
um, but no, I haven't. I can look out for that. But I haven't noticed that people respond one way or the other with the Polaroid.
I love
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, I mean, having been shot by you, I can say that, yeah, I see your point, Steve, but at the end of the day, when you're there to model, I thought of I there are certain shots on the Polaroid where I thought I was like very relaxed, but then there were certain ones where I was like, okay, let me actually get into it. So I see both sides of it actually. So yeah. And plus your sets are very comfortable. So there's that element to it
Oh,
as
thank
well.
you.
Thank you. Well, could you tell us a little bit more about, because I know that you're in a zine and it's called Barrett Zine. Can you tell me about
Mhm.
a little bit more about your work with Barrett Zine?
Sure. Um, so Barrett is a Bater zine um, by a guy named Andres out of Washington, D.C. They used to be online and in print, but now they're exclusively print only. So I've contributed some art to their monthly mini zines, but I was recently asked to do a shoot, which was a collaboration between Barrett and a new brand of poppers called Jack's Old Fashioned,
Hmm.
where we did a full-on cowboy shoot in their latest
Ooh.
edition. Yes, it was very hot.
Wow. Did you
We
say
love a cowboy.
Baderzine? Did you say it's a Baderzine?
No, Barrett
Yes,
Zine. Oh,
Barrettzine.
wait, Bader Zine?
Barrett. It's Barrett, but it's for baiters.
Right, that's what I
Oh,
thought I heard,
Yeah.
yeah.
got it.
I wanted
Sorry.
to yeah, we need to link those up
Yes,
for our
for
listeners
sure. Those
because,
poppers
yeah,
too.
Bader's the whole Bader scene, there's sites for this, people are really into it,
Yeah.
Bader.com, so, all of them are becoming really more popular, so I could see a zine on this. Well, you mentioned working with different models. Kodi, I wanna know
Mhm.
what was it like working with Kodi as a model, but what also, as a piggyback to that, what makes a
I'm gonna
good
leave.
model? When you're out and about looking for your models, what makes a good model for you? And then what's it like working with Kodi, of course?
Well,
No
I do have a
pressure.
list of people I will not work with again, and Cody is now at the top of. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
He had an announcement he
I
wanted to
got it in
make
there one
today.
time. Can't win them
You
all,
know,
right?
no, you certainly won with our last photo shoot. One of the things that I look for is I look for attitude and vibes more than I look for look. So when I don't actually remember how Cody I came across your Instagram, but um, scrolling through, I thought, yeah, he seems like a cool dude, and that's what made me want to reach out. And when we were talking about ideas that I had, you, I think you knew one of the models that I used as a
Yes.
reference, and it was just I don't know. I just felt like the vibe. I felt like we clicked over our ideas. So really, that's what I look for. It's just people who people who want to have fun with it. They don't take themselves too seriously, and they're not afraid to try something new with someone new.
I
Beautiful.
love it. Yeah. Yeah, I could
I'm
see
down to
that.
try something new for sure. Always.
Um,
And go ahead. We were gonna.
did
Sorry.
you want me to go or you go?
Well, I had a question about, because we discussed a little bit about the MoMA film, and I want
Hmm,
you to, because I am still kind of trying to put my head around that a little bit. So, what is this MoMA film? What is this new project that you're working on with the MoMA film? Tell everybody about it right now.
sure. So a couple of years ago, Polaroid partnered with MoMA in New York City to um, offer a limited edition camera and uh, film, Pelica film. So like I mentioned earlier, was getting into some trouble with Instagram when they said that posts that I shared were too overtly sexual, which they weren't.
We know how
Um,
that goes. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're speaking
sure.
to the choir here. Yeah.
girl.
So I I was scrolling through so one of my trade secrets for how I come up with ideas is just scrolling through AliExpress at like 10:30 at night. Um, and I came across these censored sunglasses, just like a black bar. And I had a pack of MoMA film coming in, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting to pair these two together? And when I do a photo shoot, just have the model take a moment in these sunglasses set to the MoMA film as a way to almost protest how Instagram um, is censoring queer art. Um,
Mm.
yeah, deliberately and to a degree that is not, or to a standard that's not held for straight art or for mainstream art.
I love that, and I want to see this that because I think that's always been the case. Is the question is ever since the days of Tom of Finland, is that art? And yes, it is art,
Yeah.
and it deserves to be art. But even to the point where you were at an art show last week, and a mother came up to you, and this is not appropriate, and you know, these art provokes, and she would probably do well if she let her daughter see this ahead of time. I mean, or don't bring your daughter to this. And obviously,
Well,
you
Yeah.
were invited to this show, so you were legitimized. But see, there's always somebody wanting to put that bar over us to. And I feel that as well. We have on this show for sure getting taken down for not one but two tags podcast Instagram, and it's so frustrating. You never get answers. So yeah, no, I definitely hear you on that one for sure. Definitely.
I can't wait to see it too. So
Yeah, I once I get with a few more photo shoots and a few more models, I'm hoping to at least get the beginning of the project published, possibly to Twitter though, because I don't think Instagram would like me protesting them on their own platform.
do it
We'll
anyway. Do
see.
it for the plot.
You're right.
Yeah. When I met you about a month ago, I was talking about a model that I recognized that I had met myself. He does a really great OnlyFans, Luke of Luke X Twong. He goes
Oh
by
yeah,
at
Luke.
Luke
Yeah.
X Twong. Yeah, you shot him. I think you shot him at Southern Decadence in New
Hmm.
Orleans. And you were telling me the funny story on how you had met him and thought he would be a great model. I met Luke before, and he's super hot, and I saw some of the shots you got from him, but you said he was really talkative and wanted to meet up, and you were like, on you wanted to have some fun yourself. What's that? How do you balance that when you bring the camera into the club, the bar, that you want to get your work, but you also want to have fun too? What's that balance look like? Don't
Sure.
get into my fun. We'll meet for coffee
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we were messaging back and forth leading up to Southern Decadence, um and I ran into him at a bar the night before we were supposed to shoot. So I recognized too, you don't know when you look at Gay Smut Club, you don't there's not a face attached to it. So I went over and introduced myself so he could put a face to the name. And he was like, "Oh, well, what are you thinking? And what time do we want to meet? And where at?" And I was like, "Oh, honey, but I'm about to follow this man back into the dark room. I will message you as soon as I get back to my hotel tonight." And he was like, "All right, have fun."
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
I love it. Which
It's
brings up a
fun.
whole question. There's a photographer here in New York that goes to the New York Eagle. If you know anything about the New York Eagle, there's spaces, there's a dance floor that's people are just having fun dancing, and then there's corners, pockets, dark rooms that people are having fun. I've asked him before, shout out to Jeff, a photographer in New York City here, that he asks everyone, it's a consent thing on who wants to be photographed, who doesn't. How does that work into consent on who you photograph and not?
so it it depends on who I'm photographing and what the setting is. So a couple of weeks ago, I was invited by Boys of Summer, which is a local circuit party in Philadelphia, to be a photographer for their district party. So I basically had free range to photograph whatever I wanted, um, and I did. But and I recognize too. If someone's in the like, if someone has a dick in their mouth, like I'm not gonna take a picture of
Right.
that.
You might look just to get an eyeful, but
A mental, you might take
Sure.
a mental note, but
yeah, exactly. I
Follow up
would.
with him later.
Yeah, right.
But if it's people dancing, um, I might just take a picture. Um, because the other thing, or if it's like a go-go boy or someone or a bartender, um, I'll just like kind of like shake my camera at them and like wait for them to nod.
Mhm.
I used to be much more shy and apprehensive about asking people for their photo or just taking photos, but the more I did it, the more I found that people they they want their photo taken. I mean, most
Everybody
people,
wants their photo taken. I
everybody
know.
wants their photo
Stop
taken,
We do. We really
especially
do, I think. Especially when it's somebody like yourself that, I mean, I
Yeah.
love that idea of if you catch someone's look and you shake the camera kind of thing, like, and they're not in some scene of a moment that
right.
needs to be on OnlyFans, then you wouldn't be able to post it anywhere if it would just be on your own device. But I think
Spank
that kind
bang.
of getting that consent, that kind of nod, I think it's a good way instead of going up to every single person and having them sign a release. And I
Yeah,
think their nod is the release. And I like that. It makes for more. I think people that work in the clubs, they want to be seen. If you're shirtless bartenders, go-go boys, they are a wink and a nod, and they appreciate it. I think in the end is kind of how I feel. Yeah. So,
Definitely.
and one of the things I started doing, especially with just like party goers and bar patrons, is if I do take someone's picture, um, I will go up to them afterwards and um, get their Instagram so I can tag them later. Um, and if I like caught them in the moment, they're like dancing with their eyes closed, completely unaware. I'll go up to them later, especially with the Polaroid. I'll show them and I'll say, "I got this really great picture of you. What's your Instagram? Let me tag you." Um, so I haven't run into any problems, and hopefully, I haven't violated anyone's trust.
Yes.
I love
That's my
it.
This is
approach.
what you seem very conscientious. So,
Oh my gosh. So you can follow Michael Furfari on at Gay Smut Club on Instagram, at Gay Smut Studio also on Instagram. What's the Twitter handle so we can get the little more risque shots?
It is also Gay Smut Club, all one word, lowercase.
Okay, I love that. We're live, and Techno watching us live says, "What is the secret to taking a great photo?" Yeah, we all want to know that.
I again, just it's really just attitude. It's vibe. I always in the bars and clubs, I always go for the person who is having the most fun, and that's it. That's my big secret.
I think it's a great
nice.
secret, and since a lot of your photos are in the club, the bars where we're freer, to quote Madonna, "I feel so free," is where we really are letting it all go, and we feel in a safe space. So you pointing a camera to us is a safe place, person, and directing us and allowing us, and you're capturing those moments, which I love. One photo at a time on a Polaroid, which is even better. Well, we wanted to pull you in with a couple hot topics if you want to play
Okay,
along, and we'll mention
sure.
your handles again. The first, Cody, did you want to put this up? And I'll read because
Yes.
this photo went viral asking the question, who is this silver daddy showing off his man spread for a male art publication? There's a mysterious silver daddy getting a lot of attention right now. There he is.
Mhm.
Yes, on Monday, a
He looks like
viral. What do you think of him
he
so
looks like he
far?
wants to be in the Gay Smut studio.
He
I
does, I
mean, I think
know.
he might already be some gay smut. Okay.
Well, on Monday, a viral tweet showcasing an oiled up, shirtless, gray haired gentleman sprawled out in nothing but silk underwear, suspenders and black lace-ups immediately took everyone's breath away. A second shot showed him standing erect, not erect, but standing erect, with the revelation that he was now adorned in a jock strap. Um, with the post, "How can one person be this much?" The poster captioned the jaw-dropping images. Sadly, he's straight, so he's not only gay, but this really went viral. I guess the question for you, what do you think of this shot? What do you think about daddies having a time right now? They always have, but even more so. Do you have an age limit on who you shoot? And what do you think of this shot?
I think it's a beautiful shot. I love the posing, the composition, the lighting. The subject is okay. No, kidding. Um, no, I don't. For me, I don't have an age limit. It's. I think the oldest person I shot has been maybe 46, and I have a 52-year-old coming up. At the end of next month. Um, but listen, as long as they're willing to go into a tiny little costume for me, I'm ready.
I love it. Kodi, what do you
Yeah.
think of this?
I love it. I think it's very sexy. I think it's, he's showing that you can be sexy at any age. And I know he's not straight, but not everyone is perfect. So yeah, good for him on this. And you know what just kind of dawned on me, Michael? I don't think you know how old I am.
Oh, 29 and a half.
Oh, I
Good
knew I liked
answer,
you. See, you
Michael.
made up for.
I
Oh
love
man,
Did I
it.
get it right?
he did.
Yes,
Good
more
job.
than
You're good
right.
at math.
By the way, if you're listening to this podcast, we go to our Patreon community, patreon.com/tags podcast. And for our free account, you can see this picture that we were talking about, so you know exactly what we're talking about. But we wanted to pull Michael into one hot topic, and he agreed. When it came to a discussion, when is enough is enough, gays are in an uproar, not over that silver daddy, but over the dating scene. And they blame hookup apps. When a new survey asked queer daters, 83% of respondents say that dating feels like emotional labor. The landscape is so bad that 73% of respondents say they've had to pull back from dating altogether to protect their mental health. The company that did this, Timey, recruited 2,100 LGBTQ plus adults in the US. And a deeper dive into the numbers says is apparent there's one overwhelming culprit that's turned dating in an impersonal and alienating experience, and it's the apps. Of those who say dating negatively impacts their mental health, 37% cite ghosting as a top trigger, while another 38% say that inconsistent communication is a major problem. Hookup apps breed an array of antisocial behaviors, from leaving people to read the downright discrimination. And Kodi, we were talking on last episode 757 just about there's a whole world right now of the loneliness epidemic that is all because of we're not communicating and really becoming social people. I mean, Michael, you told us offline that you're dating, and what do you think of the dating apps and what this frustration study shows us?
Um, I get it. I get the frustration. Um, I'm frustrated. I, I'm only, I mean, I'm on the hookup apps, and also Hinge. That's the only one that I'm on, like, truly for dating. Um, but you mentioned ghosting as a source of frustration for people. I was chatting with this guy that I was really vibing with, and we had set up uh, a brunch date for this past Sunday. So I messaged him a suggestion on where to meet on Saturday, and 2 hours after that, I noticed like he had unmatched me.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Oh,
So I was like,
oh
okay, all
no.
right.
That's weird.
So
Yeah.
he made the plans to meet up with you, and then 2 hours
Yeah.
before, didn't have the
That's true.
decency to say, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it," which would have been whatever, but just an
Right.
wow, that
Yeah, that's a lot.
is yeah, where's the courtesy of just, "Okay, I can't make it," or which would have been not great, but at least a human thing to do, but
Yeah.
just to and you go through that whole protocol and that's what you get? I could see the frustration. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with I totally understand it. My point was going to be that these dating apps were supposed to give us unlimited options or more options, and it gave us unlimited options. So now people have a hard time like narrowing what they actually want to focus on. But also, like Michael's point, it's taken a lot of the humanity out of dating. Like we can just go to a screen, go on our phone, and have this connection with somebody, but it's only surface level. It's like you're talking to a toaster, and you really forget that you're talking to another human being on the other end of this line. And I think that those two things we need to take into consideration when we're out here talking to people on these apps.
Yeah, it's funny because there we just reported on Match, formerly Match.com, that recently put $100 million into sniffies to invest in them to expand their outreach, and recently took down another company that they were investing in, Archer. Archer, if you know, was the dating, quote unquote, more dating app. After 3 years, they've taken them down. So now we're almost putting more money on the quick fix. Grinder has put in a lot of money into the AI chatbot, that your AI wingman is now a thing. And the end of the story of this study basically says the silver lining, if there was one, is basically it recognize the downside of they're commodifying our dating lives. We're given our tech overloads everything. It's time to take back sex. And I mean, I
There it
guess that
is.
is kind of the silver lining and all that, that we just have to take back our sex. But we're not doing so good with apps supporting our dating lives and people really showing up. So, but we talk a lot about connection on this show, and
Yes.
yeah. So, does somebody Techno have
Techno
something? Go ahead, read it, Kodi.
Techno is driving and dictating the series. So I was trying to read it while you were talking, and I was like, I don't know what this says, but it does make sense if you. So he says that he agrees with me, and the apps do give you more option. And then he says, "Sorry, I'm driving," because the first part of that he must have been saying something else. It's really funny, but yeah,
I
thank
love
you,
it.
Techno.
And thank you, Michael Furfari, for joining us. Thanks for
Thank you,
playing on
Michael.
some of these
Having me.
hot topics too. You can follow Michael's Instagram, and that will not get shut down. I'm putting that out there at Gay Smut Club. At Gay Smut Club is the other one, at Gay Smut Studio, the alternative. The Twitter account is, repeat it for us, Michael.
Gay Smut Club.
Gay Smut Club. Great.
Yes.
And you get a little bit more racier. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you for
Yes,
having me. This
thank you.
was so delightful.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Great. We'll have
thank
you back
you.
on. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'd love
and
to.
we'll be back.
All
We'll talk to you
right.
soon. Bye,
Okay.
Michael.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh. So fun. So great. Loved
Yes.
it. Really great. Let's get into more hot topics. Kodi, and
I'm
there's a
ready.
lot of them. When a gay immigrant reunited with his husband after 150 days in ICE custody, love has brought him home. Who are we talking about? Alan. So we're talking about a gay man is finally home with his husband after a brutal 150 days in ICE detention. Alan Michael Marrero honored his homecoming with a celebration plus a press conference here in New York City's Middle Church, where he thanked his husband Matthew for not allowing me to give up on myself. I love that. There's a great picture of them kissing. That Alan's story is a reminder that our immigration system is being weaponized against those simply trying to follow the rules. And it really occurred, Kodi, when Alan and his husband went into the immigration office because they've been working on it. Alan moved from the Caribbean a few years ago, and they got married, and they were doing everything the right way. But somehow Alan got sick and missed an appointment. Well, that triggered their meeting, and the woman that was handling the meeting for the visa that they were trying to get really was not handling it really well. And when they were having the interview, she asked Alan a question, and he looked over at his husband. She said, "No, no." She put her hand in his face and said, "Don't look over there," because there's this whole thing on you should be able to answer the questions and not have to look at your partner. He was just looking for support. She was flagged by
That's
his account.
weird.
Yeah, well, they didn't know that they were in that kind of meeting, and what turned
Yeah.
out was they had missed a meeting. They had missed like a meeting that
Mhm.
and it flagged the account, but it didn't require him to then be detained in a detention center for 150 days.
Yeah.
That's where this administration has really taken to a new level. I'm so happy for their reunion and that they finally, he wasn't deported. I mean, they couldn't deport him. He's married, but
Yeah.
this shouldn't have gone this far. 150 days later is crazy. What do you say to this?
Yeah, this is a real concern for everyone in our community, for a lot of people actually, but for our community specifically, where they're trying to, I feel like, minimize our rights as Americans. We all need to be standing up for all immigrants and making sure that these types of things are not happening with our partners and in our community and people that we care about. And we all need to be vigilant as far as uh, keeping our eyes out for things like this. What do you think, Steve?
I agree. I'm just so happy to read that they are reunited and that he recounts what 150 days look like in a detention center, ICE detention center. It's not cute. And that's even when you've done the right thing and you have local uh, state senators on your side kind of helping you out, and it's not good. So I'm just happy they're reunited, and
Yeah.
this is where we're at. But it just makes me happy that they're together. Alan says better late than never.
Oh,
Yes.
I
You're just finding something else. Yeah, got it. But
yeah.
I'm so happy for them, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, let's move on to other hot topics. When gay men revealed their essential getting ready hacks for a night out, it was a thread that prompted hundreds of thought provoking replies. Gay to gay, what's one hack when getting ready for a night out? Asked Threads user Anil Joshua. Well, the replies came in. A lot of people were saying things like preparing a hefty glass of water, ibuprofen, and a protein carb heavy snack by your bed to consume so you can avoid a bad hangover. Somebody else said drink lots of water while getting ready just in case you forget to do so while drinking. Hydration is key. Somebody else said tips from a doll: set up hella water bottles around the house when you return. It's just there. Pack makeup, wet wipes in your car. Well, a majority of people were going towards the douche 3 times for standard, douche 5 times for huge. Somebody else said eat a salad, have a nice movement, park on your bidet for a bit, and you should be good. And my favorite was Black Boy Writes, who has Nene Leaks, and said, "And here I was coming for the comments for a skincare routine." Well, that's what I was thinking of when I read this is, yeah, I'm doing my skincare routine. If I'm going out for a nice night, I am doing extra things for my skin, including this one thing that just helps tighten up the eye area a little bit so I look a little more
Oh,
refreshed around the eye area. I can give that on our tags Patreon community the exact product, but it makes me feel so good. I spent a little bit more time in the restroom really zhuzhing up and doing my hair right. I usually have a
me
glass
too.
of wine and I've got my music going, BBC Radio 1, and all of that makes me feel really good and ready to go. I create a little sauna moment that is just me all by myself. What is one of yours, or are you also on the bidet or some of these other tips that people took it there?
I mean, I'm definitely doing all the things to make sure that I'm not, like, bloated. Have you ever been bloated in the club? It's the worst feeling ever, and I feel
I've
like
eaten too much, and
I've
then
eaten too
I guess
much.
that's bloated, and
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't like to follow the rule too much because I wanna enjoy my night the whole night, and I never wanna be a slave to, "Oh, I can only eat a salad," or I never want that, so I
Yeah, I don't
trust
wanna be
Doctor
uncomfortable, though.
Goldstein, and I
Yeah.
allow myself to eat what I want, trust that I did the clean out that I needed to back in the day when I was doing all that, and
So
yeah.
I'm not talking about clean out. I'm just literally talking about being an uncomfortable because I mean, like I'm a, but even still, I feel like me doing things as a top when I'm feeling a little bit like too full is not fun. So I make sure that that part is taken care of. I don't necessarily not eat a lot, but I definitely watch what I eat, and yeah, I just make sure that I smell good and that my face is looking clean and clear and all the things that are shaved needs to be shaved. So yeah, I'm not doing too much as far as the 3 douches and things of that nature, but yeah, why would I? But yeah, so all this is fun. I like to put on a little bit of music too, to make sure that, you know, I'm in the correct state and mood for going out and having a good time.
I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we thought we mentioned everybody that we loved at the Met Gala when we were talking about it the other day, or when I was recapping with my friends. It happened on Monday night here in New York City, but one person I forgot and one person you forgot were really serving the leather community. And I'm talking about now Tony nominated actor Luke Evans. You know, he's currently in the Rocky Horror Show on Broadway. He just got nominated for a Tony. Luke Evans rocked a sexy leather outfit inspired by Tom of Finland at the Met Gala. I think we have a picture. You haven't put
We
it up
do.
yet. That,
There's both of
oh
them in here.
my God. Okay. So on the right is my Luke Evans, who really, it was called costume for a reason. And costume with a fashion twist. And I think Luke served it, giving us costume, the god of all, Tom of Finland, which is costume is art. Costume art was the theme. And I think he served it. I do think, who's yours on the left that looks stunning?
Nicholas Holt.
Who looks really good, also in an homage to Nicholas is where do we know him from before we get into his
Uh,
look?
he was in About a Boy. He's in the new Superman movie playing Lex Luthor. He was also Beast in X-Men, so
I
he's
get
been
the
a lot of
bald head
places.
for Luke's luck.
Lex
Um,
Luthor, yep,
he
that's
looks
where.
stunning in this look. My only critique on him, and we talked about it in our meeting, was he could have elevated it just a little bit more like Luke on the right with a hat. Like we just needed a little bit more. I think the critique
Like
with a lot of
Shulish.
these celebrities on Monday night was they didn't take the theme, and you're supposed to, a la Anna Wintour, it was costume art, and I think I get it. There's a wink and a nod to Tom of Finland in this look. It just looks a little too just fashion, and I needed something a little bit more. Look at Luke Evans on the right with the glove, the hat, the sunglasses, the mustache. I just think done right. But I do agree with you in our meeting. I Brown was an interesting choice. I love the
That's the
black,
only
but
thing. That's the only
yeah,
thing. It's, like, taking
yeah.
me out, and I saw on I think it was, on Threads, somebody was like, "He looks like Count Chocula." So I
Brown's a choice. I think
Yeah,
this would have
brown is definitely a
been
choice.
perfect if it was black, but I still love it, and I
Or
think your
gray, like a
boy
nice, like,
Gray would have been
uh,
great. But do you
charcoal
agree with
even.
me that your boy needed to elevate it just a little bit
Oh,
more given the
definitely.
theme? Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Techno said something about what his routine is. Do you want to read that
Oh,
before we get
yes.
into some advice?
So he thinks he's figured it out. The key, so skip lunch and also have a daily regimen of Metamucil, but move the bowels, use the wipes with the finger inside. I heard about that. And I got and no no more brown like Luke Evans, and you're good to go.
Alan, watching us live, said back to the Met Gala and Hudson Williams at the Met as the Matador. Oh, I loved that. I think he got the cool eyeshadow, sexy pants and jacket. Yeah, I really liked what Hudson pulled together for this. It read what the theme was. Connor's stories I thought looked amazing, his
Mhm.
colleague, but I just thought it was fabulous fashion.
Mhm.
It showed off his arms. He was super coiffed. It was this kind of blouse moment that went to his neck that was kind of not halter, maybe halter top, tucked into this amazing trouser and
The
shoe, but
pants fit so well.
it just looked very sleek and amazing, but not necessarily costume art, as I feel Hudson pulled off and Luke Evans pulled off more theme, like stayed to the theme, as Christian Siriano said.
Yeah.
And there was a lack thereof with a lot of these celebrities. Not Madonna, not a lot of people.
Cher?
So yeah,
Oh. Oh,
Cher, but
yeah,
Cher's
Anak Yai.
looked great.
Anak Yai? Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Anak Yai
there was
she was
some.
my winner for me.
Yes. Okay. Well, we love giving advice, and today is no different. And today comes from Reddit when they wrote kind of self fulfilling prophecies. No, that's the one you wanted to do, Cody, right?
Yes.
Kind of. Yes.
Oh, wait.
I was. Oh,
So,
am I
I thought we were doing the
wrong?
fuck buddies versus friends
Okay,
with
yes,
benefits.
sorry.
That's okay.
Fuck buddies versus friends with benefits. Is there a difference? Do both setups work for you or one or the other? Let's get the definitions out of the way. According to this Redditor, fuck buddy's a guy you repeatedly hook up with but do nothing together outside of the hookup. Friend with benefits, a friend that you do other activities with outside of hooking up with each other. They wrote, I have had several of the former fuck buddies, the repeats, reliable, you know what you're doing, you know what you're going to get. We both keep coming back for more. We connect sexually, get each other off. We may talk a bit before and after, but outside of the hookup, we don't hang out. We don't do things together. However, I've never had a friends with benefit, a guy that I enjoy hanging out and doing things with, and we play around. I have had hookups that became friends, but once the friendship started, the playing around stopped. I just don't have a desire to have sex with my friends. I have friends that have friends with benefits. Joe and I got together Thursday night and watched blah, blah, blah on Netflix, then ended up fooling around and I stayed over. I was dragging this morning at work. This was a quote of his friends. I'm curious how other
Mhm.
guys feel about this. Yeah, over the years, I think I've had more fuck buddies than friends with benefits. And I think it's harder to develop those true friends with benefits, but I think it's possible. I would imagine there's much more stories of people today that have those. What do you say?
Yeah, definitely. I personally am looking for friends with benefits, so hit your boy up. I think that I think that, the level of connection and the intimacy that comes along with a friends with benefits, it's almost like a boyfriend, not quite still,
Mhm.
but it's a little bit more closer to and more aligned with where I want to be right now as far as my relationship and what I want for my life in this moment. But yeah, I definitely see the difference. I have more fuck buddies I can shake a stick at. So I think
What
is a time for friends with benefits.
I think fuck buddies is easier
Oh
because
yeah.
as you go on, you can have your separate lives, but that you know what each other likes sexually and you can continue to explore that. And you make those appointments almost to meet up and continue to explore those or try new things. I think friends with benefit is more trickier because inevitably feelings might come into the mix and one of you might start to like the other person. We've all had that moment where somebody stayed over and you thought, could I date that person? Could I marry that person even? Well, imagine if you're friends with benefits, the more time you spend with that person and you're having good sex. I just think we're programmed to think that, ooh, this could really be something. And one of you, if not both of you, is going to ultimately think, why aren't we dating? And you're going to go down that path. So that's why I think there's less of friends with benefits and more just fuck buddies. That's
Oh,
my
for
final
sure.
thought on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that, like, when those situations do arise, it's time for you to have that conversation about where this is going, if it's going anywhere, because, sometimes it doesn't even go anywhere.
Yeah, right.
and what your expectations are. So I think that once you put all that out there, then a friends with benefits is very sustainable in my opinion.
Techno watching us live says, as a person who isn't able to just have sex with some random person, I like to go out and do something with. I do see a difference between the two. Do you feel like let's fuck? Oh, can you read that last
Buddies.
part?
Let's fuck buddies when you kick them out before you go to bed that you're going to be to bed lonely. Oh wow. I guess when you actually kick
Are you
your
still
fuck buddy
driving
out,
and using
he's
steering?
definitely still driving. He is 100% driving.
Okay, we should have
Then
probably read it
please drive
before.
safe. Okay,
Yes.
we don't want you texting and driving. So continue. We will figure it out. Okay, thank you very much.
There's nothing worse than trying to read something live and going, "Huh, I don't know that I really understand what you
No,
said."
he's saying you pick that person out and you go to bed and you feel lonely, well, you have to stay with that feeling, is what I think he's
Oh,
saying.
okay. Well, that was really insightful. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. We can let's continue this conversation. That's a really good one, Cody.
Yeah, for sure.
The difference between let's dissect that a little bit more. We want to thank our special guest, Michael Furfari of at Gay Smut Club for joining us tonight. Follow him on Instagram at Gay Smut Club. Also, his other one at Gay Smut Club on X and at Gay Smut Studio on Instagram as well. You'll see some Kodi in there.
Oh,
Did we ask you, did you like working with him?
I loved working with him.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it was very comfortable. I worked with 2 other models as well. We're there,
What
and,
was
we
that
all got
like?
on.
Did
It was
you know the
great.
models?
I had met one of them previously. He actually came to the bar, and that's how I got Michael's Instagram, and I just hit him
Oh.
up from there. So we linked up again, me and this other model, and then there was a third guy who's also very cool. I follow him on Instagram as well. And yeah, maybe we should have both of them on the pod too and see what's going on with them.
I love
They're cool
it.
guys.
Well, we could do this all night, but we've got to wrap it up. You can follow my co-host on Instagram at Mr. Maurice, as well as on Blue Sky. Don't forget, he has a brand new music video out for Proof of Love out now on YouTube. Proof of Love by Kodi Maurice, directed by our one and only Teddy Alexis. Don't forget to go to our Tags Patreon community where the conversation continues. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. And in the meantime, Cody, continue having hot
Hot
gay
gay sex.
sex. Lovely. Thanks, live virtual
Bye.
audience.